All right, we're here with episode 52 of the Wrestling Roundtable, where I hate to use this phrase, but we're on the road to WrestleMania for better or for worse. With Dominique LaRue, I'm Ryan Hall, and Dom, had a lot going on this past Raw, and I think the thing that we want to start with here is there's been a lot of talk online about what went down between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch on Raw this past Monday night. And not a lot of it has been good.
Oh, it has. I mean, I haven't been on social media like that to see any of that. I mean, most of the stuff I've seen on social media is either the mask guy, what else? Bron Breakker's injury, s- what else? What else happened on Raw the other night? Um, CM Punk and Finn, or just when is Dom ever going to defend that IC title? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, but long story short, just to fill in our viewers and listeners, um, there seems to be a lot of backlash on that promo segment. Just in like the word inauthentic comes to mind, and this is some of the feedback that I've been seeing. Like the word inauthentic comes to mind. Like they don't believe AJ Lee's character, they don't believe Becky's character. Uh, uh, it is like just not connecting with them. Now, granted, I think a lot of it is just the IWC doing does, which is whine and complain. Not unlike what we do for an hour every week. But my point is that there's a, I think that there's just a lot that is just not connecting about this feud, and I don't understand why, because first of all, AJ Lee is 10 years older. I guess April Mendez, the her she's 10 years stuff. She's been working on her mental health, but her character, that AJ Lee character, is still um like is still what's the word I'm looking for here? Like that AJ Lee character is still dangerous. It's still, it's still got some edge to it. And it's like I think a lot of the people that are whining and complaining about it just don't remember how out of pocket she was, how dangerous and just crazy she was back when she was, back 10 years ago.
I mean, she's literally female version of her husband. Like
Exactly.
CM Punk, like everybody that's CM Punk fans, or like still are holding on to that image of CM Punk back in the day before he left WWE and stayed gone for a while and they came to AEW, this, that, and the third. Uh, CM Punk is not even the same CM Punk 10 years ago, where he had come out and he's basically you know, the best in he still calls himself the best in the world, but yet this version versus that version was like trying to fight the system, trying to be the voice of the people. Um, you know, fighting Vince McMahon and like this mold that WWE was trying to create of him, or just what it is to be a superstar. But now this CM Punk is more seasoned. He's an old grizzly veteran. He's just here to collect checks and win titles and basically be on his John Elway type stuff. And that's AJ Lee. AJ Lee is coming back to do things she wasn't able to do 10 years ago because it wasn't even one of 10 years ago. Like women Royal Rumble, um, women's tag team belts, two women's titles, two women's mid titles. Um,
Hmm.
women are main eventing shows. Like, and then for the people that are bashing AJ Lee, I mean, you you sit there and act like this ain't a different time in our lives where people don't change and evolve. And like AJ Lee is a more like my brother said here, she's more evolved into this beautiful, contained animal now. Like she's not coming unhinged just at the drop of a dime. She's coming unhinged when she wants to. And that's even more dangerous than somebody that's just, come out unhinged at the drop of a dime. Because now you don't really know whenever she's going to switch that, flip that switch. And it reminds me of the Joker off of uh I want to the Dark Knight Rises is the third one, but the Dark Knight and where Joker, everybody knows, but I mean, if you don't know the story of Joker and Batman, then I mean, obviously you're not a Batman fan, but
All right.
Joker is the most sadistic villain that Batman's ever faced because he's smart, yet he's very off the rails with what he does. It's not a justification of what he does. He just does it because he feels it's right. And in the movie, he would sit there and tell a story about how he got his scars. But with every story he tells, it's a different story. And then like some stories are longer than others. And then like I remember distinctly the one where he was talking to the I can't remember the actress name or the character she played in the movie, but when he was telling her the story, you can hear the music in the background and it kind of like this slow, sadistic like build up. You slightly hear it, and it gets a little louder, and it gets to a point where it's like overwhelming to the point where he's finna get to the point where how he got his scars, and then boom, Batman comes in. So you're left with, oh my God, was he going to kill her just then or not? Well, AJ Lee is like, she sit there and tell a promo, and she's very calm. She's very, like this kind of motherly energy coming from her. And then all of a sudden,
Right.
like certain things are kind of like tick her off, and she's fighting against it. Like, when Becky came out, obviously you can look in the eyes, like you look at somebody's eyes, you can tell. And then like she's playing Becky because in her face, she's not she's not bothered by Becky whatsoever. But we all know
Dude,
she,
she's playing Becky like a puppet.
and that's the thing. Like she's playing Becky like a puppet. Now, the only gripe I have, if I could be real and agree with the IWC, is Becky trying to be unhinged, as you might say, because it's like we
Right.
haven't seen you be unhinged like that, and it don't work for your character. But I get it because she's trying to be unhinged of the character she's playing out with the whole what is it? Sports Illustrated tells me, I'm the best wrestler in the world. It's not just me telling them, whatever the case may be, but I just don't like that particular character she plays versus AJ Lee's character because it's been consistent. With AJ Lee is just it's more refined in a sense, I guess, if that's a word.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I like the way you put that, is that she has a little bit like AJ has a little bit more control over when she snaps, when she crashes out, when she loses it on somebody. It's like she can summon it somehow.
Yeah.
And as a storytelling device, that's dangerous. That's like really dangerous because when somebody's just crazy, like crazy, crazy, yeah, you can be unhinged. But like if somebody's just like crazy, crazy, that's one thing. But if somebody can like call on that crazy whenever he or she wants to, that's a different story altogether. And um, I think that can be really powerful as they expand this, so to speak, in the in the subsequent weeks as we head out to as we head to Elimination Chamber here in a few weeks, and also head to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Good Lord willing, in April.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Elimination Chamber don't even feel that exciting to where it used to be. And then the road to WrestleMania is kind of one lane. It's like one lane going to WrestleMania versus like two lane.
Got a lot of potholes in it too. Is like is not well maintained.
Oh man, if potholes were injuries, I'll tell you what, because I can't recall in recent time where so many of your top young stars is getting hurt.
Jeez, I mean,
And I,
yeah.
to be honest, well, speaking of young, shout out to uh Javon Evans for that amazing spot he did at Raw
Mm.
last.
Oh, that was insane.
That was that kid. What he likes to say? He got some bounce. He bouncy.
That boy
To do
bouncing.
it. Yeah, to do a cutter to kick. First of all, to time it as well as he did, and kudos to uh, one of those Americanos. Um, for them to time that they did the way they did, and then to execute it the way they did, and then the camera angle they did was crazy too. It was nice. It was one of the very few highlights of Raw on Monday
Yeah,
night for sure.
agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
but besides the AJ Lee and Becky promo, I didn't really get to see the match between the Usos and Alpha Academy, which I'm glad I didn't because obviously
Right.
it was a filler match. We knew the Usos weren't going to lose to Alpha Academy. Come on. And then my guy Jay out there botching like nobody's business.
Oh my God. If you haven't seen it, there was a spot where Otis, my man Otis, was doing the worm and Jay was supposed to super kick him. Missed him by 3 feet.
Super kick his shoulder looked like, but
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, even the announcers were trying to undersell it, like, oh, he didn't get all of it. No, he didn't get any of it, Michael.
he- none of his foot touched his head.
That, but that does bring up something that I wanted to touch on is Cody Rhodes, that bastion of whatever he's been lately, has been talking about one, like, kind of advocating for having more untelevised house shows
Hmm.
because that's a moment that I mean that that Jey Uso botch is a moment that could have been practiced when the cameras weren't rolling, when the cameras weren't hot. And then when the cameras are hot, you've got it.
And I feel like where you're going with this is house shows used to. First of all, they used to allow the wrestlers to be more open with what they want. Like I've been to a few house shows, and obviously they don't do the stuff they do at house shows they do on live TV because
Of
they
course,
want to be
yeah.
stuff. They want stuff to be crisp and with the storyline or whatever. You ain't finna see Jay go and hug Otis or something in the middle of the ring or whatever the case may be on TV versus like a live show or whatever. Or you ain't gonna see them dancing together or whatever. It's just more the if you ever seen some videos on social media, everyone who's listening. It's been like house shows they do overseas or whatever. And CM Punk came out in a towel and a shower cap one time to help somebody fight. Um, you wouldn't see that on TV at all. But they knew it was untelevised, so they could do silly, goofy things like that and
Right.
really just be out of character. and like the hair, let the hair down, and as a that metaphor. Um, but it also with house shows, it helps. It's like practice, basically. It helps. Your moves get crisper, your timing gets better, and by no means I want the talent to work more. Like
Right.
I want their schedule the same as it has been, or even more, even less, because they deserve time off. They deserve to spend time with their family and rest up and get healthy and stuff. But I'm with Cody on untelevised house shows because untelevised house shows it just helps the product be better.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I mean, you know, you've got a lot of guys who can like so often like I remember I think it was Diamond Dallas Page did a who uh like I saw a video where he shared this story of a house show loop, so to speak, that he did with the Macho Man back in WCW. That was back during their just insane feud back in the NWO days. One of my favorite WCW feuds of all time. But Macho Man was Diamond Dallas Page was like during the house shows, Macho Man, when he'd punch, like light as a feather, right? But when the red lights came on, you better be ready to take it. You better be ready to duck. You better be ready to sell because that's when the real stuff had to come out.
Or you throwing potatoes.
Yeah, no, he's throwing a whole sack of potatoes. And but you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And wrestling, professional wrestling is a dance. You have to, these are guys, many of them are legit badass fighters, right? But you've got to have a great dance partner, or else, you know, what are you going to do? And the timing, you got to work on the timing. You got to work on the moves. You got to work on, making this stuff look as real as possible. And yeah, we know this is predetermined, it's fake, but you got to make this stuff look real as possible. And it's like, think of a great musician, right? Think of a great musician. How many hours, how many years he's going to practice, mess up, you know, just mess up so many times to where when he gets on that stage in front of a paying audience, he's going to be locked in.
Yeah.
Same thing with great athletes. One of the, like how many shots did, like Larry Bird throw up before games or Jordan or Kobe or any of the greats? How many shots did they throw up before a game? Wayne Gretzky, how many shots did he take before games? That's how you get in those reps.
Yeah. Repetition. Repetition is key. Um, as you was as you was putting that together, I was sitting there thinking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. And recently he was talking to Chris Van, I don't want to butcher his name, CBB. And
Chris Van Vliet, yeah.
and Stone Cold was talking about, his WrestleMania match with Kevin Owens. And as great as that match was, obviously there was some flaws in that match. We could tell Stone Cold hadn't been in the
Yeah.
ring God knows how long. And like Stone Cold said, he was throwing some potatoes at Kevin. Like he was, you know, he was laying it on thick with them punches. But Kevin and Stone Cold loved that match and wish they could have another chance at it because I mean Stone Cold said it like Kevin Owens is a great talent. And I mean Kevin Owens can make a great match out of a paper bag, really. And if Stone Cold would have had his timing where he had it back in the day with like The Rock and Mick Foley and all them, oh man, that would have been me, 12-year-old me watching Stone Cold fight again in the ring.
Facts, facts, yeah.
Uh he even said like he didn't have his you know, wind or whatever, and then also, trying to get familiar with Kevin Owens, because I mean, I'm sure they hadn't really worked together like that leading up to WrestleMania because Stone Cold had other stuff going on outside of the ring. Kevin, he was in I think he was working with I guess the Bloodline at the time, or something where he was working with other talents, and then eventually they got to the point where I mean they didn't even know if they're gonna have Stone Cold on the card or not. So it was kind of like, yes, he's on the card. We want you to do a promo to call him out just in the third, but let's hold our fingers, put our fingers together and hopefully pray that he makes it. So, but if they would have had a guarantee like Stone Cold could be there, build up, this and the third, I'm sure they would have linked up with each other and like worked on moves they want to do in the ring and this and the third. But hell, that match wasn't even a match. Really, they ended up outside of the ring, like in the crowd.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a no DQ match
I
in
mean,
a sense.
it's almost like a pseudo street fight if you think about it like that. Yeah. And a lot of times we'll, get to some of the current day stuff here, but a lot of times, um, like I know that like a lot of times guys will work out spots. They'll like put out like crash pads in the in the ring to work on that. But you can't really work on the timing. You can't really work on when to bump after a punch or how to land after a suplex or something. You can't really work on that timing if you're not actually doing, actual spots, if you're not taking actual moves, if you're not practicing actual moves. And not only, and again, we're not advocating for these guys to go, to go, touring for 300 nights a year like they used to back in the day, but it helps. It helps these guys stay fresh. And, you can also, you can all like you can also train your body to be able to to be able to hit the ropes better, to be able to take to be able to take the bumps. So it's I think Cody was right on point with that. That they need to start, again, not to the level that it was back in the day, but bring it out a little bit more. And, to say nothing of the fact that you can play smaller rooms, you can be able to, have a show. And, like there's a great spot nearby, nearby in a town called White Plains, New York, called the Westchester Civic Center, which is where I believe the second ever episode of Monday Night Raw took place. And but it's a small room. It's like, it's like theater size. It's like, it's like 2,500 seats or something like that. But you can
Mhm.
have a show in a room like that, allow people like myself who may not be able to make it to Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center for a for a big Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-view type event to be able to take it in, not having to, you know, not having to fork out that kind of money for those tickets, not having to fork out that kind of money for, you know, for for a for a $25 beer or whatever. I mean, it's a lot more affordable. It's a lot more fun, but it also allows these guys to get in a lot better reps and a lot better quality reps too.
Yeah, and it allows them to let their hair down and not be on
Yeah.
such a strict like you gotta do this, you gotta say this, you gotta be like this, you gotta you gotta look mean, you gotta do all that. Like some of these dudes, they don't play bad guys. a lot. So, it lets them be what they were to get WWE in the first place. So,
Yeah, exactly. Kind of get reconnected with who they were when they were when they were out in the independent world of, playing high school gymnasiums and backyard barbecues.
yeah, and it helps them connect more or work on their crowd work with live shows. That's the most important.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it
Speaking of
does.
working on crowd noise and stuff like that, I'm glad you segued into this because one thing that has been bothering me and has also been mentioned on a great wrestling podcast besides ours, uh, before the before the Bell podcast, they talked about lovely women's undisputed women's champion over in SmackDown named Jade Cargill and Cargill, excuse me, I'm butchering the last name, but besides her non-existent title reign, um, I just can't vibe with the character that she's developed into because I don't know if there is a character involved at all. Obviously, everybody can sit around and say, I'm the baddest bitch and I whoop everybody's tail, this, that, and the third, but she don't her mic skills aren't immaculate. Um, is not a real connection. And it falls back to that particular topic I talked about with Tiffany Stratton in her title reign. And it feels like a basically a same old title reign where the only aspect of Tiffany's was she kept resting and repeating the opponent she fought, and she really didn't have a guaranteed solidified rivalry with somebody. She just so happened defaulted with Nia Jax because she was Nia Jax's sidekick or whatever the case would be until she cashed in on her or whatever. But with Jade, obviously, the people that you could have had her rocking with are you know pregnant. So
Right.
and you don't do anything to like really establish a rivalry with her with somebody. I mean, I know they're doing um Grace. I'm sorry, I don't even want to butcher her name, but Miss Grace. And it's really like, how are you gonna start a rivalry with her? She just got to SmackDown. Like
Yeah.
2 weeks after she signs, she's feuding with the champion. Like, so you don't have
Former
anybody
TNA
else.
champion, to be fair.
But it's TNA, right?
Yeah, I
It's
know. I
but
know. Yeah.
like like you got Chelsea Green, who's a former U.S. champion 2 times, and like she's one of the most charismatic women on the roster. She's a certified heel. She has that connection with the crowd because like with her character is like I'm Canadian, I'm better than you, basically. And it's crazy because Canadians are nice. So
Yeah.
that's the character right there. That what gravitates me to her, making me feel like she's a heel or whatever. But like,
Right.
it's like John Cena going heel after 20 years and sitting there and just talking to the crowd like, "Oh, y'all abandoned me, or our relationship is toxic, or this, that, and the third." It's that aspect of it all. Like, what? What are we doing?
I
Like,
don't
it's
know.
no. It's really. It's a story behind John Cena's. Like, I get that, but with Jade, it's just like I got the belt. I'm just walking around promoting it for WWE. She's a pretty face. She got a great body. She's great in the ring physically, but um, and when I'm sitting here talking about it, it takes me back to the discussion we had. What makes a great superstar? You remember that discussion we had?
I do. Yeah.
mic skills, presentation, talent in the ring. You can have two of those and be fine. But it's vice versa on which two you can have. But you got to make sure is them two can carry that one you're missing because you miss one critical one, it's not going to work for your character. And number one really is mic skills. If you ain't got no mic skills, you pretty much are rowing up a river with no paddle. You doing this because you're already behind the game. You can look great all you want, and you do amazing things in the ring, but when you cannot connect verbally with the crowd, especially us as fans at home, you pretty much lost. And so now it puts Jade as the title holder. In my eyes, she's basically the title holder until either Naomi or Bianca get back. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah. Which I've given, like, I feel like I've given Jade a lot of, like, I've given her a lot of rope, so to speak. I've given her a lot of leeway here because I still think there's a lot of potential in her. But right now it's just not connecting at all. Now, yeah, she's got the great face, she's got the great physique, she's got great presentation, but the character work just isn't there. And it's like you said, if you're missing if you're missing like one of those big three aspects, the other two aspects damn well better be able to carry you. And I think a great example of that is Dusty Rhodes. Now, Dusty Rhodes was a guy who, charisma for days, you know, one of the best talkers in pro wrestling history. Great connection with the fans. But let's be real, the guy was not that great in the ring. He was dumpy. He was goofy. But he had that connection that you just can't teach.
A goat. Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
Hulk
Yes.
Hogan. The man he can wrestle. He can wrestle a puppet and make it look believable.
Yeah.
Like, and that's crazy because, like, obviously as kids, oh my God, it's amazing. But like as we get older and really know what's going on with professional wrestling, it's like, oh wow, I did not notice this when I was a kid. This really just went over my head because Hulk Hogan couldn't wrestle worth a DAMN compared to most talents ever, and that's saying a lot.
American Hulk Hogan couldn't wrestle. Japan Hulk Hogan. I've sent you that video of him doing insecurities and drop toe holds and stuff like that. But
I was
the
it was
way
a
the
new
way that Vince wanted him to wrestle just killed the skills.
yeah, and that's most of like the heavy weights back in the day because that's what Vince McMahon envisioned. Like now, I mean, you can't tell a heavyweight from a darn light heavyweight because they move so like the discussion we had before about the Tom Brady discussion about athleticism and stuff. Like you got guys that are 340 plus moving at a 4 or 5 speed and jumping higher than a jackrabbit. Like that's amazing. And to obviously Javon Evans, he's very lighter than Randy Orton, but if you see a guy like Randy Orton doing stuff like Javon Evans, you'll be mesmerized. You'll be like, I can't believe he's doing it. Like at that weight. But then again, if he is doing stuff like Javon Evans, eventually that weight is going to like, shorten his career a lot quicker. So
Jacob Fatu. Dude's like 270 pounds, but he's doing suicide dives. He's doing moonsaults. I mean, that dude is a freak athlete.
Yeah. Braun Strowman at the time when he was with the business. I mean, six, was it 6'9", 6'8", something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
300 something pounds. Could lift a truck by himself, moving at a four, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's quicker than me. I know that. I mean, obviously
Well,
not quicker than me because if he's chasing me, I'm gonna take off. But he was just a freak athlete. All these dudes now are freak athletes that can do amazing things, especially Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker to run at the weight he has, to run 25 miles per hour, hitting those ropes and then spear somebody. I am shocked nobody has had a broken rib because it takes a lot of control to contort your body to take the force off someone spearing you. I mean, look at what he did to Carlito. How is that man not physically like unable to walk after getting speared like that? Or even Braun Breaker,
Spirit,
that man.
yeah, yes, speared that Joker right out of the company.
Scrape his name right off his back. Like he ain't Carlito no more. He's something else. I don't
Right,
even know his
right.
name. But it's
Speared
just
his own damn name off of him. You know,
it's like I
and
said though, it's really hard for it's really hard for talent like Jade and I can't even say Stephanie because Stephanie has everything going for her. It's just WWE likes to tamper with stuff. Like what was wrong with her interest music?
thank you. Not a damn thing was wrong with her entrance music.
Nothing at all. Nothing about her was wrong for you to be like, okay, we might need to change this up. Like nothing. Like and I'm sick and tired of these old heads. And the old heads I'm referring to, Michael Hayes and Vince Russo, who still lives in that
Yeah,
old 80s era of wrestling where you can't outgrow that era and come into the real world now and look at all the magnificent things that wrestling has progressed into now and think that old mantra is going to continue to work. It is not. We have a black woman wrestler who's the world champion, and we have a Latino woman champion. And yes, she does speak her native tongue. That is absolutely fine. If you cannot understand what she says, get a Google translator, uh, use subtitles or something. But at the end of the day, she goes from English to Spanish to English again. So if you can't understand what she said, then that's on you because I can tell she was cussing out Dom and Liv. I'd rather she cuss them
yep.
out in Spanish because that keeps the you know the
Keeps it
guy
believable. Yeah.
keep it believable. Also, keep it from the person in the back having a nervous breakdown because they got to sit there and hit the button every single time she open them mouth. So, with that being said, it goes to Michael Hayes with his comment about
Yeah.
Chelsea Green.
Oh, I have
And
some thoughts about this, but go ahead.
yes, and granted, I'm on the same boat as you, which you've been giving Jade a lot of rope. Um, I know I've said some things about Chelsea Green. I felt like Chelsea Green wasn't at the time what they was doing with her character. I didn't feel like she could be champion, but that was just the character they was doing with her, not the person. Because I always looked at Chelsea as someone who possibly could be champion, and she puts me in the mind of a female Miz because Miz went from just, real world dude just trying to be a wrestler, really just trying to probably do that to, put himself out there to get more viewers and this, that, and the third, just trying to chase fame or whatever. But then he eventually became the Miz. Like he became a certified GOAT. and that's what Chelsea
Hall of
Green
Famer.
has. Yeah, Hall of Famer, and that's what Chelsea Green has the potential to be too, because everything about her screams heel or a phenomenal heel who can go from goofy to serious. For God's sakes, if anybody don't know outside of WWE, this woman had a intergender match with WWE's own Penta. And I didn't see the entirety of this match, but I've seen clips.
Yes,
And
I have two.
just basically put this into your mind. Anything that you seen women getting attacked back in the day, Attitude Era or whatever it can be, you put that in your mind and amplify it, but then also amplify it to the point where she's doing the same stuff to Penta. So it's not like a just, oh my God, I can't believe he put his hands on her. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this to Penta, a man. So like her track record speaks for itself. And then to put her in WWE, she wins the US title twice, right? She basically made that title what it is because now in my mind, when I see that title, I think of Chelsea Green. She's Canadian, so she plays a character well, right? Most Canadians are known to be nice. She is nice, but she's kind of like, you know, a jackass about it, basically.
Yeah.
Her work with Nick is phenomenal. That it it cracks me up every time they have banter between each other. And then to sit here and say the things that Michael Hayes said about her being like the cornerstone excuse me, to use to put someone over. Okay, I get that. But when you're saying it and doing it, it's two different things. Saying it,
Yes, it
it
is.
sounds good. But doing it, anybody that she has lost to, have they done anything else after that? And I'm just talking about the mid card people. I'm not even talking about people that are already made. People that who are already made, they're made, so they don't need no push, right? Charlotte beating Chelsea, that's not really nothing. It's
Right.
Charlotte. Jade beating Chelsea, that's something. Oh wow, she goes on to win the women's title. She's not over with nobody. Like it's to a point now on SmackDown where it's like, oh yeah, she is the women's champion, and it just ticks me off because it's like these women bust their butts to get where they are. And then not only that, to put the women's revolution to where it's at and like they're main eventing these shows and stuff. And yet you can't even put the same energy you put into repeating Cody versus Drew over and over and over, where we can get some type of entertainment as far as the women's division in SmackDown.
Oh boy. Um, when it comes to tag team wrestlers, the Freebirds are like on the Mount Rushmore. Michael Hayes is one of the, is a, one of the greatest of all time tag team wrestlers. Okay. Just to get that clear. But he's out of his mind if he thinks that way about Chelsea Green. And I've always been a fan of hers. You know, like it was I think it was like, I don't know, I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but the Money in the Bank match. I think it was 2024, the Money in the Bank match, where she took that table bump with Tiffany Stratton. When Tiffany threw her off the top of the ladder, she dropped through that table. Tiffany grabbed the briefcase. Yeah, Tiffany grabbed the briefcase. I
It
think
was
that
it
was,
was Lynch
yeah,
Basher.
yeah. Um, she sold that like you know, I
Well, I take it back.
love that
Well,
comparison.
it was 2024. I'm sorry. It was 2024. Yeah. Because Tiffany had the belt for
Yeah.
over a she had the belt for quite a while. I think she had it almost for a year. So I think when she
No,
won it,
I remember she was
she was carrying.
champion at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point remains the same. Chelsea Green has always been, she could be champion, absolutely be because she has kind of that, she has kind of that Miz kind of kind of a jackass kind of heel going on, but she plays it cute. She plays an innocent being, with the whole like Canadian nice kind of thing.
Yeah.
Michael Hayes doesn't know what the hell he's talking about with this. He's out of his league with this.
Mhm.
And I haven't seen any of the Unreal episodes yet. Judging by the last year in creative, I don't know if I want to. But,
It's taking a lot for me to
but
even try to force myself to think about watching.
yeah, exactly. Um, I just don't understand it. And I say that a lot on this podcast. Just don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't get it.
No, you and me both. Because
I don't get it, and I wish I did.
because even now, like we haven't seen Unreal, but we've seen like snippets or seen pictures of like what they was drawing up for last year's PLEs, and one potential one was like Dominique versus Finn for the IC title, or excuse me, Demon Finn for the IC title or whatever. And like now, fast forward, we got Finn versus CM Punk for the world title at Elimination Chamber weeks before WrestleMania, when they got the greatest WrestleMania main event in history, potential greatest main event in history of Roman Reigns versus CM Punk.
Oh, miss me
Now I
with
don't know how you feel
that.
about this. I don't know how you feel about this, but I hate when they sit there and say that like that. Like now, granted, I could be wrong. I need to go back and watch old videos, but I don't think JR was just sit there and be like, "Oh, this is greatest, main event of all time." Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, no disrespect to Roman Reigns or CM Punk, either or. I mean, they are neck and neck with each other too with that. But they had a reason to say that back then with Stone Cold and The Rock, because Stone Cold and The Rock was two super mega stars fighting for the number one spot. It wasn't two separate titles. It was one title, one definitive title. No matter what you say, the WWE title, that gold with the earth and the eagle on it, that was the title. You could have the world title running around here, blah, 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 but it was always the secondary title, like no matter what. Granted, obviously Roman said that the world title was the loser's title or whatever, but now you're turning around 2 years later and you're saying, you want to fight CM Punk for that title. Granted, it's not even about the title for Roman. It's more of Roman wants to put an end to CM Punk. That's what I like about it. Sure, yes, the title's on the
Yeah.
line, but now it makes me feel like the match is personal because Roman said, I could fight you for the WWE title, I mean the world title because it's on the best show in WWE on Netflix. You basically are the biggest star on the show, but I'm fighting you because I hate you. It's not even about the title, it's about my feelings towards you. And also, this is the third match between the third Shield member for CM Punk, and currently CM Punk is undefeated against the Shield. The main guy that brought the Shield into
I
WWE.
doubt he's going to be undefeated after WrestleMania. Hmm.
I'm trying to tell you because it don't make any sense for him to beat Roman Reigns. I mean, like that's why you're going
It doesn't
undefeated
make a
leading
damn
up
bit
to
of sense.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like this is the cherry on the top of the magnificent cake that could be baking for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. If you put that title on Roman, obviously Roman has things going on with that title, but eventually it leads up to The Rock fixing him the title to somebody, whoever. Jey Uso, I don't care, whoever, but you have so much storyline to use for Roman versus Rock at Saudi Arabia if you play your cards right after WrestleMania with that title.
But there's also the little matter of WrestleMania coming up at the end of April this year. Let's
Oh, I'm
not
sorry. Did
just
I skip?
totally
I
let.
skipped, I skipped this year's. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That just shows you
yeah, yeah.
how I'm not even wired to this WrestleMania because like outside of that main event, the main event, we have so much chaos going around that WrestleMania,
And
and it feels like
injuries. Don't forget. Yeah, which we're about to
in
talk about.
injuries, in injuries because like last year's leading up to WrestleMania, we had John Cena turn heel going after Cody. Then we had the, the big three basically feuding over each other. Roman and CM Punk feuding over who got the ownership of Paul Heyman. Um, you got uh, you had Jey Uso fighting Gunther for the world title. Like we already had established storylines like leading up to that WrestleMania. This WrestleMania, I have no clue other than two matches: CM Punk and Roman Reigns, Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. We'd be a fool not to even sit here and think like that's not possible. They're definitely going to have AJ Lee and Becky
Yeah,
Lynch running back at WrestleMania.
uh, too much money on it. There's way too much money on it.
Way too much.
Yeah, but like I haven't like it's been so long since I have seen this roster this snake bitten by injuries. I mean, it's like the 2025 Atlanta Braves. They're just so snake bitten by injuries.
And I'm sorry. I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm going to throw this in too. Obviously we're gonna get Cody versus Drew again with a
all
sprinkle
right.
of Jacob Fatu. So like, I, bruh, as many times Cody and Drew has fought each other, it's ridiculous. They're really trying to force that down our throats to make us want to watch that, and I do not. And then, I mean, kudos to Drew for trying to boost up the undisputed title, but it's just amazing how the undisputed title, was the number one title. SmackDown was the number one show. You take Roman off that show, take that title off of Roman, and that undisputed title feels like the secondary title. 2 years ago, Ryan, we literally heard Roman out of his mouth say that the world title is the loser bracket title, is the secondary title. It was on Seth Rollins, for God's sakes. And then we turn around 2 years later, and now the world title is the title. And it
And
ain't even on
it's gonna main event the whole freaking show.
it ain't been the same damn show that was there last year in the same venue in the title that was the main title, the title that was the main event of the whole entire WrestleMania, the one that sends that show off, and like that's it. That's the last match. Was John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed title. And I get it. I get it, CM Punk. I get it. I get it. I get it. You main event night one, you still the main eventer. And you are. I'm never taking it away from anybody that main event, either nights. But you can't sit here and tell me that people think about the main event the first night over the second night. The only time that happened is last year when we literally saw the best main event out of those three. Seth Rollins, I mean, Paul Heyman screwed CM Punk and Roman to join forces with Seth Rollins. just to turn around night two and see that terrible display of a main event because of the fact that certain features of that match didn't make sense. But we try to wash
I'm
that out
keeping
of
my
our
mouth shut.
yeah, we try to
Yeah,
wash
yeah, yeah.
it out of our brain and can't sit here and be like, you know, night one was the main event. I mean, it was the main event of the night, but at the end of the day, WrestleMania has always came on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
WrestleMania main event is the main event. The last show of the PLE. You don't have two of the same PLEs and call it main event. The main event is the main event. The last show on the card, the last show on the show of shows, WrestleMania. That is what you're fighting for. WrestleMania night one is like a secondary, like it's second place in my eyes. You know, CM Punk, I'm a wrestler fan, we are all entitled to our opinions and blah blah blah. But you can't sit here and tell me every talent in that damn production and promotion, excuse me, any talent on that promotion sits there and says, I want to be main event for night one. No, I want to be main event night two. That's the last match of the whole entire show. Night one and night two. Everybody's going to remember night two because it leads into Raw. And that's the thing on their mind going into Raw after WrestleMania.
That's the image that people remember when the TV fades to black and the logo pops on the screen is that's what people remember. The celebrations, the whatever. That's what people remember. It's not, you know, you know, the like WrestleMania 40, perfect example of that. The night one main event was storyline related.
Yeah.
The night two main event was the consequences of the conflict of that night one main event, and that's what made that work so perfectly, in my
Or
not
30
so
or
humble opinion.
39. Yeah, like sure. Yeah. Usos and Sammy and Kevin Owens main event at night one. And granted, that was a great match. I remember that
Right?
match. But at the end of the day, we're talking about Cody losing to Roman
Yeah.
and the chicken get thrown in the ring. And
And the
Cody's
rubber
look
the rubber chicken.
and Cody's look on his face. That's a meme. Like, Roman's in the back, and Cody's looking off spaced out. Like, that's what people remembers the most about that WrestleMania.
And there's a bloody rubber chicken laying right beside him on the mat.
Right? But like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it, Mr. Charles Montgomery. Like I get it.
Yeah.
You're tired of hearing our comments. You're tired of hearing us speak on things. We're idiots. Like we don't know this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, we understand storytelling. We understand the the product that y'all putting out. Y'all are making memories. Y'all are making things that we talk about for the rest of our lives. And growing up, Vince McMahon made WrestleMania. WrestleMania has always been number one, like one night only. Obviously, he got too big for his own britches, so they had to basically break it into two. But at the end of the day, you want to
Right.
be night two. That's the night you want to be on. You want to be night two because that's what we led up to in the first place.
Welcome to TKO Mania. And I hate saying that, but welcome to TKO Mania.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. But before we bring this home, we do need to talk about the injuries because I haven't seen like stars like this going down in a WrestleMania since God, whatever WrestleMania that was that main evented Roman Reigns and Triple H.
Oh God, that was in Dallas, wasn't
That
it?
hot mess that hot mess yeah, just that absolute
Uh,
hot mess that was because we've
Cody,
already spoken about it a lot, but Chelsea Green's got a broken ankle.
Yeah, that thing broke. Man, I ain't never seen so much purple in my life outside of just like that. I mean, besides my baby being born, she they popped the mouth open so she could breathe and this and that, or that purple thing at McDonald's, that big purple whatever that is. I forgot his name. But
Grimace, grimace.
yeah, the leg is purple.
Yeah, she's probably. I would be surprised if she is on WrestleMania.
Yeah,
She works for WrestleMania.
they better shoot steroids in her ankle or something
And
for
then,
that.
yeah. And then Bron Breakker. Apparently, that man had a hernia, like a
Right.
hiatal hernia. Had to do surgery. But this was apparently they said it was in a training accident, but not. It was apparently as he flipped over the announcer table the previous week on Monday Night Raw.
And apparently, I saw some stuff online that he's been dealing with like a minor injury. So he was pretty much like toughing through it. But then that table
Right.
just really set it off to where like, oh, now you really finna be out. So
He may be out for WrestleMania.
the brother didn't use his knees. Okay. He just tried to lift it up with his shoulders and arm and stuff. And he should have bent his knees and lifted. That's what he did. He ripped that
Kind
mug
of
right
wonder
off the mug.
kind of wonder if Uncle Scott called him and told him about not using his arms for that.
Oh, he was using them. I seen that bang about to pop out his bicep. Yeah, he was using them arm.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, the injuries are ridiculous. It's like, and they happen. They happen. They're human beings, and like,
Right.
yes, this is predetermined, but you can't determine an injury. And like Bron, Chelsea, Bianca for 9 months. It's kind of ironic. It's 9 months. I mean, I think she probably just might just had a baby, but either or. Naomi, the one having the baby. Um, Kevin Owens still out with his neck surgery. Hopefully, he comes back healthy and stronger and faster
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah. Piper Niven with her neck. Yeah.
Niven. Yeah, they're talking about. I think they said that she might not even wrestle. Like, is
Yeah.
that's it? I mean, I know we've heard that, from the Brian Danielsons of the world and the Pages and Edge of the world, but
Edge.
like
Right.
this is they say it's pretty bad as far as like her not wrestling, like 100%. And I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm pretty sure I'm missing more people, but you got Montez Ford out here. He looked like he didn't ate the other Montez Ford.
Be nice. The man's just bulking up. I mean, if you
I
think
mean,
he's not
hey,
going to
hey,
be
look,
ripped to
look,
shreds next time he's on TV, but yeah,
that brother looked like he
I,
been eating
I
happy.
get it.
He's
Yeah.
been happy, and he got his baby at home to see, and I'm sure she's been whipping up some good food, and like
Yeah.
just enjoying this time off of television. Obviously, he's still working, but like he got a break, so like you said, I mean, and Montez Ford can
Right.
easily switch that up and he be bulky and ripped too. So just a little jab, little friendly jab. That's all.
No, yeah, totally. 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 But I think it's a crying shame. Before we wrap this up here, I just think it's a crying shame that the biggest questions that we have about WrestleMania, that we have about one of my favorite events of the year, and can't speak for you, but I know it's one of yours as well, is just why should we be excited about it? Like, why should we be looking forward to it? When it's one of those things where I love this time of year as a wrestling fan, but I'm just not feeling it this year. And that just breaks my heart to say, but I'm just not feeling it.
WrestleMania is my all-time favorite WWE PLEs. It's the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. It is it is every word JR has ever called WrestleMania, the pinnacle of shows, the grandest of stages. Like I still remember as a kid, just um I didn't get to see the earliest WrestleManias, with the Hulk Hogan's all and of them all, but I still distinctly remember WrestleMania 17 leading up to that. The greatest promo of my lifetime, of anybody's lifetime in my eyes, is Stone Cold versus The Rock for that title. And just the correlation of everything that leading up to WrestleMania, like the Deborah being picked as Rock's uh valet, Rock, no, Stone Cold winning the Royal Rumble to go to WrestleMania, Rock beating I believe it was Kurt Angle for the title, and just that interview between the two with JR sitting in the middle and Stone Cold telling The Rock, like, I need that title, right? Just to like look back at that interview and see how that WrestleMania ended the way it ended. It was basically telling you that Stone Cold would have done anything to get that title. And he did. Never in a million
He
years
did.
anybody would imagine
Sold his soul to the devil himself.
sold his soul to Vince McMahon just to get that title. Was it the best idea of storytelling? Possibly not. But at the same time, it made that effect that people that Vince McMahon was looking for. It was gut wrenching because like this man has literally caused your life a living hell just to turn around and he shakes your hand for your assist in helping him beat the Rock.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the greatest wrestling shows of all time. Maybe the greatest WWE show of all time. But I think you alluded to it. That promo video set to my way, the way that that unfolded, that was you can't beat that kind of, you can't beat that kind of aura. You can't beat that kind of, just, gravitas.
Mm-mm.
And that's one thing that this year is just missing, and it breaks my heart, is that there's just no gravitas. And it's like we were talking about before the show, is like they're just playing it too safe. They're not taking any chances. They're not making any, they're not stepping on any kind of um like stepping out
Toes.
like on a pre-branch or anything. It's just they're not taking any chances, and it shows. It definitely shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we went from the old man reign. Obviously, some of his decisions were terrible, but like he wasn't scared to try different things. Like who would have thought Otis would have won the Royal? I mean, excuse me, not the Royal. Money in the Bank briefcase. And granted, he kind of basically dropped it to Dolph Ziggler, but the fact that Otis won the Money in the Bank and was carrying that Money in the Bank, it drew a different type of aura, energy about the Money in the Bank. Like anybody can get it, and anybody could cash it in at any point and change their careers. That's literally what the Money in the Bank is. It can alter your
That's the
career.
point. That was the point of it.
That was the point of it. Um, Nikki Cross, she was dressed up
Thank
as a
you.
superhero, walking around as a superhero, got the Money in the Bank, cashed it in on Charlotte, and won the title. And I mean, people don't give Charlotte her roses on that. I think Charlotte has probably been the most cashed in superstar that I could think of, as far as women wise, and dropped the title to people because I need to do research. I'm pretty sure she probably is the one that dropped the title to most of the women that have had the Money in the Bank briefcase. But I mean, I was on TikTok and they used my way, the same promo my way for Roman versus CM Punk. And it almost slaps the same way it did for Rock and Stone Cold. Now, granted, you wait about I'll say about 4, maybe 5 weeks later, and it probably is on the verge of Stone Cold versus The Rock if they play it right with the promos and the interactions with each other and just the overall because it's there. I mean, you can tell from Roman the way he said "I hate you"
Yeah,
is like it's there. And kudos to Roman for like obviously that brother been taking some acting classes. Okay, he's been working with his cousin and got some people and like his overall aura is so far superior to what it was when he was the big dog.
yeah.
It leaps and bounds from that character.
It's like he's a whole different person. Like the Roman Reigns of 2016. I couldn't stand. I mean, he was the good-looking Samoan guy, great beard, big muscles, but no charisma at
Predictable.
all.
Predictable. He's
Yeah,
predictable.
predictable. But but the the head of the table, just the OTC, that guy, is like I've said over and over and over again, a great champion. Every eyeball, every camera, every eyeball watching on TV, you lock on that man because as soon as as soon as those drums hit, as soon as that music hits, you know something's about to go down when that man walks in that door.
And he comes out walking. He don't run. He don't I mean, even when the times where him and Bloodline members will come out and try to jump somebody and stuff. Everybody else is running. He's walking. Sometimes he even power walks, but even in the power walk, it's still sadistic. I mean, it's very like it's like a Michael Myers type walk. It's not that slow. It's not an Undertaker walk, but it's definitely like a determined walk. Like the final boss is
Yeah,
here, no pun intended. And
the
I
real
I
final
run
boss.
right the real final boss. I run things. I'm the OTC. I am fin to come make your night a living HEW hockey sticks. So
Yeah, it's like it like I just flashed before we wrap up here. I just flashed on um the boss character from the movie Goodfellas,
mm,
played by Paul Sorvino, one of my favorite movies of all time. But Henry Hill, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. But Henry Hill, his line is Paulie hurries for nobody. And that's Roman Reigns in a nutshell right there. That's what makes his character so damn compelling, so, just captivating.
yeah, that was a great call
Yeah.
on that. Because that's everything about his character. Like he's not going to rush for nothing. He's going to take his time. He's very seductive. He's very um calculating in things that he does. But that's just like how he was when he first was the head of the table. Like that triple threat match between him, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt or the Fiend at the time, and Bron Breakker. I mean, excuse me, Braun Strowman.
Strowman. Yeah.
It was a triple threat match, but he has yet to sign the contract to even be in that match. So it was ended up being 1-on-1. And then he waited to the last second. Waited till both of them was in the ring, just exhausted, beat to shreds, and then he pulls up, signs the contract, and walks down, grabs a chair, and beats the holy crap out of both of them just to pick up the win, get the title, and bounce. You ain't do no work at all. You ain't been in that match longer than 30 seconds, and you go down there and do that. Then you turn around and go back, not go back, but basically eventually get to a point where you sit there and like, I mean, in short said it everything. What to say? Crash everything and leave, or it's like, you know, basically beat up everybody and leave. And that was his shirt. And I wish I would have got the shirt. That's one of the shirts I really wanted to get before it ended up coming off the NFL. I mean NFL. WWEshop.com, which I'm pretty sure I
Yeah.
can. I'm find that shirt and I'm gonna get, it, and it's gonna be on the show one of these days.
All right. All right. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Smash
All right.
everybody and leave. I think that was what it was.
Smash everybody and leave. There you go. There you go. That's yeah, that was it. That was it. Well, another fun episode, my friend. We're a couple of weeks before the Elimination Chamber, for lack of a better word. And yeah, join us for the ride, won't you?
I'm sure that Chicago's gonna be hype, and I think Elimination Chamber is gonna be great. I mean, it can't get no worse than WrestlePalooza. So I'm just gonna put it out there.
Please don't use that word again.
I hope they don't use that word again. Like I hope that is a one off, like Great Balls of Fire was. Like erase
Great
that
balls
from
of
the
fire.
memory
Again with the
book.
great balls of fire. Uh,
That's in my brain. That got off of PLE. Besides the main event with Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe was that basically that Great Balls of
yeah.
Fire. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask your doctor if great balls of fire is right for you. Um, all right. Another fun episode, my friend. Let's lock it in for episode 53 next week. You want to join us?
Yes,
I know
yes,
you do.
please.
All right. That'll do it for this week. For Dom, I'm Ryan. You've been watching and listening to the Wrestling Roundtable podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow us on Facebook, and we're now on Instagram. And come by and say hi. We'd love to talk to you. We thank you so much for watching. We thank you so much for listening. And until we eat again, so long for now.